Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy TUSK out to the day. Mr. Flow So Good, Matiba Totle, Mr. Skipper what. You already know by fate. So back with you guys with yet another YouTube video. If you are new to this channel, please do make sure to click that red button and subscribe before you leave. Also making sure to click the bell next to that red button because that's what makes sure that YouTube notifies you every single time we upload a video. Now, you guys will already know that I really do appreciate it when rappers live what they say in their lyrics. And they rap what they live, okay? But there is something known as keeping it a little too real, okay? Where you just get to a point whereby you live your rap so much that maybe it's a good idea to limit it. You guys will know, some of the American rappers will go in their songs and talk about how they're savages and how, they really shoot people and really kill people and so on and so forth. And then you happen to hear a few months later that, they're caught on a murder charge and caught, or have been arrested for beating somebody up and so on and so forth. And that's when you actually get to a point where you're keeping it a little too real. But, in SA, it's a bit on a lighter note. As you guys will already know, that AReece once came out on a song known as Meanwhile and Honey Jew and basically rapped the lyrics, Ari Arabidi Phone. For those of you guys that are not South African, those lyrics basically mean, we're basically not picking up the calls anymore. And it seems he's really been doing this. As you guys will already know that a few months back, Nasty C did come out very upset about this. Basically sent him a song, didn't necessarily get a reply, and that feature eventually didn't happen. And Cassper has basically come out and complained about the exact same thing. This is what he came out and said. A fan asked him, did Reece respond to your feature proposal? He responded by saying, nope, been trying to find him, DM'd him, I tried though. That's what counts. I tried a lot of guys and most of them are mising me. I tried. Now, like I said earlier in the video, I did come out last year and I posted a few videos talking about the fact that Nasty C and AReece seem to be bearing the hatchet between them. And you guys will already know that that hatchet was basically created when they first came into the industry, where it was basically presumed that AReece kind of sounded like Nasty C, which was partly true when they first came out and with their first few songs, but over time you could hear the distinct differences in how they rap and in their styles of rap. However, at the beginning of it, that wasn't so clear. They ended up taking shots at each other, with Nasty C saying, he doesn't work with people that sound like him, and AReece basically responding to those shots. And it eventually got to a point whereby they settled those issues and it seemed like they were ready to do music together. Nasty C complained that, AReece is not responding to his DMs, but he was ready to send him the music. It seemed like they did communicate, but that eventually didn't work out, ending up with earlier this year, Nasty C basically coming out to say, F that boy. Now, Cassper seems to be coming up and complaining about the exact same thing. As you guys can tell, he's saying, look, I DM'd him. I'm trying to get him on a feature, but it seems he's not willing to respond to what I'm actually saying. Now, y'all will know that between AReece and Cassper, there's been a bit of hiccups in the past few years, with basically AReece being unhappy with Cassper saying something about weed. And it didn't seem like a big deal at the time. But as you guys will already know, with rappers, you never really know what is a big deal and what is not a big deal. But it seemed like Cassper wasn't happy with it. AReece sort of issued a type of apology about it, but it wasn't really that serious with his whole white flag tweet and so on and so forth. But they did have some hiccups with that whole weed thing, with, AReece basically saying Cassper's a lie about it. However, it didn't seem like it was that deep. Now, looking at the fact that, since then it seems like they sorted the issue out and they were cool again, but, it seems like AReece is not responding to his DMs and doesn't seem to be willing to work on him on a feature. And of course, we're not exactly sure whether he's not willing to work on him on a feature. All we know is that he's not responding at this point. It could be that, those issues weren't really as settled as we actually thought. Now, me thinking about this situation, I actually looked at it and said, there are three possible, probabilities in this particular situation. The first one, is probably the most obvious one that a lot of people run to, which I'm not necessarily inclined to believe, which is the fact that a lot of people are basically saying it seems like AReece has like a massive chip on his shoulder, which is actually understandable, right? A massive chip on his shoulder, simply because when he first came into the industry, it seemed as if everybody wanted, to treat him like the shadow of Nasty C. Nasty C seemed to also run with that narrative for some time. And even then, when he left Ambitious, you had MT taking shots at him. You had people clowning him over the fact that, I don't know if a lot of people know, but before AReece actually made it and before he blew up, he did some songs about Cassper. He used to mention Cassper a lot in his songs, and he had a song that was called Cassper Picture, if I'm remembering it correctly, or Casper's Picture, and that was a song basically paying tribute to Cassper at that particular time. But if you look at what eventually happened in the industry is, Nasty C came into the industry first. Cassper gave Nasty C the cosign and did not necessarily give AReece the same cosign, even though, Nasty C for the most part seemed to be more into AKA than he was Cassper, but he did also do a song, on one of Casper's beats. Not necessarily a tribute song, just a song on one of Casper's beats. So I think that also might have contributed, to some of the tension between the two of them, given the fact that you've been doing songs, about this guy since before you blew up. You finally get to a point where you blow up. He does a song, which I don't think even Cassper was aware of this, but, he does a feature with Nasty C and never actually does a feature with you. And then, at the time when he was down, you could say a lot of people might have thought that he was actually down and out. And then at the time when he was down, when he actually left Ambitious, I thought that was a time that Cassper could have given him a cosign. Didn't seem like a cosign actually came till, he started doing the whole TWC thing and had to sustain it over time. Actually, AReece deserves a lot of credit. Like, of all the artists that are the big artists in hip-hop in the game right now, he probably is the only one that didn't necessarily get a really huge feature to sort of help stamp him in the game. He didn't have that. I mean, you could say that MT was his cosign, but MT was also new at that time. MT had a big hit, and that was basically the only cosign that he actually had. He didn't get to have, a cosign with a Cassper. He didn't get an AKA. He didn't get a WHP. He didn't get anything. It was just, him working off of the momentum that he had when he was still at Ambitious Entertainment, and that sort of helped him, continue boosting and building his career over time. So he deserves a lot of credit for that, because there's not many artists that manage to build something like that. But it could be that has, given him, some type of chip on his shoulder to basically say, they didn't give me a chance. And now that I'm up there and now that I've blew up, I mean, guy, I noticed that he actually has crossed over, even 1 million followers now. I'm sure he's probably looking at them like, yeah, I don't think I still need you guys at this particular point. The second scenario is obviously he possibly just has, like I said, the issue of, it's not necessarily he has a chip on his shoulder with everyone. He just feels as if, these people didn't help me while I was still on the come up, or at least Cassper necessarily didn't co-sign me when, I was still doing songs about him, mentioning him on all my lyrics and so on and so forth. And he had an opportunity to sort of co-sign me at that time, and he did not. And he did this. He did the same favor for other artists like Nasty C. So why didn't he do it for me? It seemed as if Cassper was even willing to do it for J Marley. He was willing to do it for other artists, and why not me? So it could be that he's just looking at it and saying, so now because, my career is sustainable and my career is doing well, now they want a feature, or now he wants a feature. Maybe not. And the third scenario could be just the fact that he just doesn't care. He just thinks he can build this whole thing on his own. He doesn't need to do features with people. He probably can call them when he wants a feature with them, but he probably just feels like, look, I've built this thing thus far off of, the momentum that I had. I didn't need big artists on my song. I didn't have a Nasty C, didn't have a Cassper, didn't have any big artists on there, and I don't need to have them on there. I can just continue with the, team that I have, your Mash Beats and any other artists that are still on the come up that I might want to work with, but I don't necessarily need to work with, some of the big name artists in the game. That also could be, the reason is just like, I don't necessarily need to do the songs. And another possible scenario is maybe he just didn't check his DMs. Maybe he's still going to respond and they eventually make music together. I don't know, man. But yo, guys, leave me your comments in the comment section, letting me know what you think. What do you guys think of AReece basically living out his lyrics? Apparently, he's still not picking up people's calls, not responding to people that want to do features with him. You guys think it's a good idea? You guys think it's a good thing? You guys think it's a bad thing? Why do you guys think it keeps happening? Why do you guys think it happened with Nasty C and it seems like it's currently happening with Cassper? Y'all leave me your comments and definitely subscribe. Awesome.